Hi everyone. Thank you for attending our workshop of PyLadies Tunis. We are three co-founders, Mona Belaid, Amal Tlili, and me. We wanted to build a Python community in Tunis and all over the world, but mainly, it's like in Tunis. So we are really happy today to have with us a great speaker, Muafaq Ayedi, which is a pioneer data scientist. We hosted the first workshop before. This is the second part of the workshop, and it was about the introduction to APIs integration in Python. This is the second part of the workshop, which will be about the development of REST API with Django and Python. Thank you, Muafaq, for being with us and for showing us and learning from you these amazing skills. So we know that you're a great mentor, you're a Google Africa developer mentor and a Microsoft Azure data scientist associate. And it's a great opportunity today to have you with us to learn all these amazing things. So thank you very much. And the screen is yours.
So first of all, the pleasure is mine, and thank you for inviting me. And thank you again for the brief presentation. I guess I will dive into the topic. So I think in July we had our first workshop about APIs using Python, of course. And what we did is, I think the best thing is to share my screen and show you what we have done. So I think one of the best IDEs to use is PyCharm. So I will share my screen with you, and we're going to start with what we have done in the last workshop. So
actually, when we start working with APIs, we realize, it's like the importance, of learning how to develop APIs, and then, it's like with Django and Python and how to use them. It's really important skills to have.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember two questions, and one question and another remark in the last workshop. So I will go one by one, but first I will start by showing you what we have done previously. So in here, I think you can see my screen. It's gray. Can you confirm that?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, awesome. So what we have done is we have created an API, but it's not working on a server. So one of the attendees was an API by definition is something that needs to work on a server. So you make post and get requests. But what we have done is a source code that we can use through one line of code or two lines of code. So I will go through some basic definitions because even professionals and engineers can confuse them. So in here we see the main file. So in the main file, I'm making a code. So what this API is doing is scraping a website, which is elbursa.in. It's a website for stock values. You can see companies' stock values, how they increase and decrease. You can read news about business and etc. etc. What we did is we have scraped that data. So what usually people do, they do it manually. So they will download thousands of data manually, which is impractical, or they pay for an API, which is the professional thing to do. You pay for providing to be provided by that kind of data. What we have developed is something free. So if you are interested in finance, if you are interested in machine learning, you will need your own data set. You will not download the data set like we usually do. You're going to create it by yourself. It's going to take a week, for example, to develop a similar thing, but at the end, you're going to have your own work, your own algos that have contributed to making this data set. Then you can put it on Kaggle and people can vote for it, do a lot of stuff about it. And I forget to put it on Kaggle. I wonder if it's going to be famous or not, but I don't think so, because third world countries' stock exchanges are not to be considered. Maybe China is not like a fully developed country, but people will be interested in China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, countries, rich countries. But for Tunisia, I don't think that will get popularity. But during the end of study internship, that skyrockets. Everybody needs it. So that's what we have done. And here we are calling the libraries we have created. So in here, the definitions always changes. So if you're working with Java, with object-oriented programming, you will refer to this file as classes. This is my first class. In here, I did not define a class, but I suggest one function. So I don't really need a class. And in here, in here, I define a real class. So this is like object-oriented programming. And when I go to the main function, this is like in Java and C#, what we do, we create objects through classes. But in Python, we like most people do not just learn Python to learn Python. They need to solve a real life specific problem, maybe a security problem, maybe they need to develop an app really fast, and maybe for data analysis and machine learning. So the background of the community really changed the concept that we are talking about. And here we are talking about packaging the source code. So here is the function that iterates through the files and make the API work by itself. So no need like to copy and paste and go through the files, go through the folders, try to organize the data. This function will do everything for you. So you will like just launch the main and that's it. Your data is downloaded, organized, and taken care of. In here in the script function, this is like the actual function that will jumpstart the Chrome browser that is going to download the data. So I will not do this again because it's going to take a couple of minutes. Well, you can just check like the previous video. And one of the commands was like, but this is not running on a server. And here like starts the confusion. Why we call it an API if it's not running on a server? So the definition of an API is not really a definition, but like something you can put your hand around it. It's a type of module that is already scripted. You only need to put it in your script file and use it as you want. So what we are saying in here is like, you will not develop a code to use an API. The code is already developed and you will only use the result of it. It does not mention server, it does not mention that your code needs to be online, and does not mention anything. So for example, you need an API to access your laptop camera. It's not necessarily you are on a server to access your laptop camera. For example, there is another interesting example, which is the Windows SDK libraries. So the interface of Windows SDK libraries is in its API. SDK is software development kit. It's Windows software development kit libraries. And they are packaged in a way that you will work with them seamlessly without like developing your own source code or develop things around them. So what we have done last time was like one of the many ways to make an API For example, this same exact source code, like we can put it on Pipey, you need to package it using the rules of Pipey. So Pipey have several steps to follow, several rules to follow, and then with pip install, so I called it Scrap Tunisian Stock Exchange. It will be like pip install. I need to make Google Assistant mute every time. So we can like put pip install Scrap Tunisian Stock Exchange, and it will be installed on your laptops, and you will work with it seamlessly like I do. But I said I will do that like by September, but then I did not even take a vacation during the summer. So I did not have time to do that. But like in the future, like in 1 or 2 months, it's like one-day job, maybe like 1 hour, 2 hours, not that big a deal, but it's gonna happen. In the website Pipey, it says Python packages. Sometimes for us as developers, we refer to them, like even in my team, we say I downloaded the API. So sometimes we refer to same different things with the same word, or like one thing with the same word is like sometimes it gets technical. So now let's try to have a small definition for package. So package is like it contains many modules and APIs. So you are allowed to use each module or API as much as you want. So for me in here, I have only one specific task: scrape the Tunisian market stock exchange. So I created my only one API. But for example, if I'm gonna like do that job and add to it the machine learning job, I have 2 jobs. So I packaged the scraping pipeline, but then I'm gonna package the machine learning pipeline. So we will end up with 2 different API that we have coded from scratch, putting them together in one package. That's packaging. Like packaging in one package, we can find a lot of things. And for example, like most softwares are packaged softwares, and then they release them as executable. Or for example, like for us in Python, we use pip install, and need to use the wheel format. So that was one of the remarks. There was another remark about something I did. So I was prototyping the scraper, but after the workshop, I have finished it. I used to use like a very simple variables to change the date. It's just to get the job up and running. But then I have developed the rest of the source code. Now it's more clean. It's better. And I need to put it on GitHub. But just right now, I realized I did not put it on GitHub, but it's no problem. The dates, we're skipping some dates. So the variables, we're skipping some dates because you know there is the leap year. With the year when we have like 366 days, we need to take care of that. We have like months with 28, 29, 30, 31 days. We need to take care of that. So I changed the source code. It can match all those things and even more stuff. So for you guys, so you can like profit from this. I'm gonna put it now. I'm gonna actually update it on GitHub. Then you can like put a star on it if you wanna like follow all the changes, because I'm gonna package it in a Pipey format in the future. So not Tunisair, that's another project. Scrap Tunisian stock market. Yeah, that one. So what I'm gonna do is like delete the old ones. It's like this is not very very like professional, but like it's fast. And even the code over there is like a little bit outdated.
Share the link after that.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna put
the link of the GitHub. So We
Yeah,
can
I'm gonna.
post it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna put it shared with you right now, but like, chat in here. So everyone, and here you go. By the way, if you're gonna sell it and you gain money, please give me a percentage. I couldn't sell it myself, so I'm gonna rely on you. Okay, so license, readme requirements, and the setup. Even the setup, I'm gonna like. No, I'm gonna leave it. What we're gonna do, not like the push or whatever thing. If I'm gonna waste time, is just like upload the files, because every time I say I'm gonna upload them and I never upload them. PyCharm, script engine start, and here we go. Script function, month, number, days. So this is the file I added for iteration over the days. Main, there is four files. Good. I'm gonna put the smiley face. I'm gonna call it VF -1. Hopefully -1. So final version -1. And here we go. That was the last workshop. Now let's use Python, but for web development, and let's use Python for web development. Like tonight we're gonna use Django. So I know some of you are not like familiar with Django, so I'm gonna start from scratch. When I was learning Django, it took me like 1 week or 2 weeks because I did not find the good tutorial. Most tutorials that would just give you the instruction to just follow it in a stupid way. So for me, I was like, I need to understand the architecture, how those files inside Django are communicating together. And finally, I found good tutorials, and I have made my own tutorial, which, by the way, guys, you can follow it on LinkedIn. I'll put all the instructions. Like, just go to my LinkedIn page right now, and you're gonna find all the instructions for tonight's workshop. And we're gonna do it in real time, but like it's beneficial for you to have it all along the steps. So here we go. That's part 1. In my own notes, it does not look good, but of course, when I post on LinkedIn, I try to make it like visually good. So it's more appealing for people. It's easy to follow. And this is the second part. So if you are new to Django, just follow the first part. That's part 1. And the second part.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's so good.
Thank you. Positive vibes. I like that. So for you guys, just open the 2 screens and like you're gonna find the things I'm gonna talk about for the next half hour. Because I always notice that after 1 hour, people like get tired, and I completely understand. For me, it took me a couple of days to understand the architecture of Django. So if people like feel a little bit dizzy, I can understand that. But what I love Python is makes life easy. You do not even notice that you are using object-oriented programming and using advanced stuff. But like if you go to Java, you will know that the struggle is real. I'm not even talking about C and C++. So that's for you guys. For me, I will open PyCharm. So if you have, so PyCharm is the best IDE. I know you use Anaconda Jupyter Notebook, that's good for data visualization and exploration. Again, I'm talking with the camera, but I know that you are not seeing me talking to the camera. That's like the Zoom thing.
It's okay, you are seeing you.
Really? Why I can't see myself?
No, you can see you. It's okay.
So from where I can see myself? I want to see myself.
uh, Maybe change the options.
I changed
There,
them.
there is an option, view options at the top.
Yeah, I did, but like none of them are
Uh,
showing my
I think
face.
because you're sharing your screen,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're sharing,
Yeah, that's
you can
why
see yours.
my complaint about Zoom. Like when you share your screen, you cannot see yourself.
Yeah.
okay.
But
Okay.
we can see you.
Yeah, that's the good thing.
Uh,
So I was talking about the Anaconda. Anaconda is good for amateurs. Why I'm saying amateurs? Because it's really easy to use. I recommend it for people starting, but for web development, it's not convenient. So you will be using Spider, which is integrated in the Anaconda environment. And Spider is an old software, and it really looks ugly. I think they updated it, but like still, it's not very good. The best one is PyCharm. So I think I talked about that. Yeah, of course I talked about that. So what we're gonna do is like new project. So I'm gonna close this. Yeah, we don't need it. And we're gonna put a new project. We're gonna call it Django REST. So tonight we're gonna explore Django REST API. I'm gonna put one. For you, do not put one because for me, I already have a Django API on my end. So I'm gonna create a new environment, and this is like a good practice because the kernel, the Python kernels are really bad. They crash. So if you are working on a project and you misconfigure something and your environments get an error, sometimes you cannot go back and you cannot restore the good kernel. And that happened to me 2 weeks ago. And I'm talking just about PyCharm. For Jupyter Notebook, it happens all the time. So it is a good practice to always create a new virtual environment, and it gives you a new kernel. Then you will start to download all the packages you need. That's the bad thing, but like it's a good practice. You can, if you are lazy, you can like use previously configured interpreter, especially if you have a lot of configurations that you have done. So you can use this one. And since we do not really need to create a main by welcome script, but I'm gonna leave it there. So I'm gonna create the project, and then you can like follow the second tutorial on LinkedIn. So I'm gonna minimize Zoom, and then we're gonna start. So it's creating the virtual environment. Now we're gonna start downloading the things that we need. The first thing to do is to go to the terminal, which is, so if you use another IDE, it's going to be a separate terminal, but for us, it's like integrated in our IDE. So we're going to type Django admin start project, and then we're going to name our website. So we're going to name our website my site, like a dummy name. It's not like we're going to do something really serious, just something to learn. And here we go. So from here, terminal, I advise you not to follow me coding, not because I'm so fast, but like you're gonna miss a lot of things and you're gonna have the video on YouTube. So here we go. Django admin start project name website. I'm gonna name it my site and enter. We're gonna wait a little bit. Oh, okay, good. So in here, I can see my site. And in my site, I have a manage.py. This is, yeah, I think this workshop is gonna be long. It's not 1 hour. So manage.py is the thing that you're gonna manage your website with. It's very crucial. You can find the explanation of the file in the tutorials too. And it gives you, for now, we are interested in the settings. This is the settings of the project, and this is the URLs of your website. So one website can have several applications. So if you have a machine learning, so I always talk about machine learning because that's my passion. I hate the word passion, but like that's the thing I like. So you're gonna put your machine learning project into another folder. So it's another application. So my site in here will be about the website itself, but then the other folder will be with another name. And this is like the main URL file for the whole website. And in here, the settings file, we're gonna change two things, and that's it for now. Now what we're gonna do is in the terminal, we're gonna locate ourselves inside my site. So what I'm gonna do is cd my site. And now we are in here. So this is my workspace, is my site. Then we're gonna create a new directory. We're gonna call it main. It's like, you guess it right. It's the main like folder that I have our website logic. Python manage.py startup main. Couldn't import a Django. You are sure if installed available? I think I did not install Django. So install Django.
I think L is missed.
Oh yeah. Start. No. So I'm making a Django workshop, but I did not even install Django. That's so bright.
But you used before Django.
Yeah.
So you did install before and then you
No,
uninstall.
no, that's what I was talking about. Each project I create a new virtual environment.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, right, it's okay.
Yeah, so
Thank
I
you.
said I'm gonna install the libraries I need. Then the first thing I did is not to install the library I need.
It's okay.
So after that, we're gonna Python manage.py startup main, and what this will make me have is a main folder. And here we go. This is my main folder. It has the logic of my application, not the logic of the website. So a website can have other websites inside of it. We call them applications. So this is my application. I call it main. So if you have machine learning, for example, in here, you're gonna have another main. Or if you have a website that has a lot of machine learning models, which serves a lot of different applications, you're gonna have like my site 1, my site 2, my site 3, and each my site you're gonna have inside of it main 1, main 2, main 3. This is like dummy names, but like I think you get what I'm saying. So in here we have the views, like every web page has the views, and we have the models that we're gonna use, and I think, not to confuse you, we are like, that's enough. Now we go to my site. So this is like the configuration for the whole website. We go to the settings, and Okay. Do you still see my screen?
No?
No.
Yeah. It stops host disabled participant screen share. Oh, one of you has disabled.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, yes. That was, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. Because I suddenly was seeing my face finally.
At least you see your, your face. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, Hadia, you should make him a co-host again, as you are the host.
Okay.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, it should be okay.
So can you try now to share your screen?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah,
So
we can see the screen now.
awesome. So now we're gonna configure the file that have the settings for all our applications. So I'm gonna here in installed apps, and I'm gonna add my main application. I'm gonna call it main apps main config. So if I have many other applications, I need to mention all of them in here. We save the settings file, and after that, because our objective is not really to learn Django, but to learn how to use Django REST API. So after that, we're going to add another one, which is REST framework, which refers to Django REST framework. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the views.py, and the views.py have the logic for the interfaces that we can see. Where is my mouse? Oh, it's in here. So this is my site, my site, my site, and this is my virtual environment, the main apps. So why I did put main apps main config? Because my application is called main, and in the settings of the whole website is going to refer back to this file, which is apps.py. And this is the logic of Django. And this is why I said it took me a long time to understand how these files communicate together, because in the tutorials, they were just copy, paste, so you do not understand the logic behind it. So this is my main application, and this is like the file that the whole website settings file can refer to. Now I'm gonna go to the views.py, and in here we're gonna create a dummy page, so we can verify if our Django project is working. So inside the views.py, I'm gonna put my code in here. It's gonna be like that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy paste the code. It's not really that much, but like I don't want to waste time. So it's like this. We know that the first page to use is always like the index. So that's what we're gonna use, and we're gonna use HTTP requests. So the HTTP request is to give me the page that I can visualize. So I think that's good for the views.py. Now what we're gonna do is, because I created a view in here, I need to create a URL file reference. So I'm gonna come in main, I'm gonna put a new urls.py, and in here, I'm gonna define the logic of routing between different views. Sorry if I talk a little bit slow, is that because I'm too tired? Well, I think you understand. So for now, we do not need these pages. We only need the first one, which is index. And this is how I'm gonna route between different URLs. So if you have questions, you can ask me. Do not wait till the end, and don't be shy. Since now we have, like for every website, you need a database. So Django has its internal database, which is an SQLite database. And every time we make a change to the website, like we add models or something like that, we need to update it. So I'm gonna start by python manage.py, and it says no change detected because I do not have like new models. And after that, I'm gonna make a migration.
I'm wondering about the utility of the creation of the views and the UL spy. So do you need to have this each time at the beginning?
Yeah, so like you can skip URLs inside the main, but then you need, like if you have three different applications, you will go to the URLs of the entire website and define their logic in here. After that, you will not separate between them. So when you want to find like which are the URLs for the first application, which are the URLs for the second application, when your website gets bigger, you're gonna lose the sense of those files. So for my application is called main. So preferably inside my application, I define its own URLs. And then I link the URLs of my application with the entire website URLs. So it's a methodology of working. It's like being organized.
Yes, that's better. That's clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. So in here with python manage.py migrate, we created the database and migrated all what we need. So we did not create an admin for our Django application. We're gonna do that afterwards, but it's gonna have all the information that we need. Now the next step, let's talk about this step first. So when you first create the website, you put python manage.py migrations, like this one. But then when you need to update, you put this one. Now what I'm gonna do is like, because in here I have seen user email max length, so it reminded me of creating an admin for my website. So what I will do is create super user. So it says manage by, did you mean migrate? Oh. I put two different instructions in one line. So username is living blank to use almighty. I'm gonna call it MK, and email address it's, I'm gonna put something dummy. Let's see if it works. Password 1234 1234. Bypass validation, create user anyway. Yes. Good. Now, what I'm gonna do is like check if my website is working. I should have done that before, but like I forget. So it's a run server or something like that. I will try to remember. So I think it's Python manage.py run server. And the thing is, I have learned Django last year. So since last year, I did not really use that much. And that's why I'm struggling to remember the thing. Here we go. Our website is up and running, and Django. So what we have done is something really cool. It's based on last workshop remarks. In here, I have a server. So my server is up and running, and my website is up and running. So that means we did not make any mistakes. But if you make a mistake, the website will not run. So now, guys, I think you have. What is my bottle of water? I think it's also. So in here, we have learned how to create a Django website skeleton. And then afterwards, it's like a repetition. You create views, you create models. I know there's a lot of stuff to know, but if you are, I'm assuming you are from software engineering background, I can assure you that's like the hardest thing to do. But like afterwards, it depends really on what you're gonna. It depends on your use case. For me, I use machine learning, so I will just make the skeleton, and then I will just make the API that's going to use my machine learning model, and that's it. Then I will leave it for front-end developers, and the rest is for back-end developers. Even though integrating machine learning models is for back-end developers, but I usually do that so I can test my own AI apps. More than that, okay, admit. So more than that, what we're gonna do is like now we're gonna install Django REST framework so we can create our Django API. Finally, we need to interpret the server, interrupt the server. You just press Control C at the same time and you install Django REST framework. Ignore the warning, and then I have talked previously about something which was in the settings inside the installed apps. I need to add, I'm going to use Django REST framework. And for that, I need to type REST framework. So everything is integrated into one place. And I will run my server again. So just to be sure that it's working. And here we go, it's working again. What I'm gonna do now is like something very simple. I'm gonna go back to my views and I'm gonna create the view for my REST framework. So I'm gonna copy paste it. And here we go. So what we are creating in here is a class called stock view. And this class is going to be from a generics list API view. So we're going to store things into Django internal database, which is a SQLite database, and then we're going to query them. So we're going to put information inside the Django database, which will be stock-like objects. So we're going to AAPL, it is worth $400. It's like the same spirit of the last workshop, but just to gain some time, we will not use real life data. We're gonna use simulated data that looks real just for the sake of prototyping. But then the smart thing for you guys to do is like combine the first workshop with the second workshop, which I will eventually do, but I'm assuming that will be, I don't know, around 2 months. Not the workload, it's just like I would be free, I'm assuming after 1 or 2 months. And in here it says that it does know the generics. So the generics, we take it from the REST framework. So in here, it still does not know the stock. What is stock? I have briefly talked about the models. When you create a new model, you make a migration. And this is when we are going to use the models. So this is the class for the view is going to use a model. So I need to define a model. So everything is very logical in Python and Django. So my database is going to have the symbol like AAPL, MSFT for Microsoft, AMNZ for Amazon. And for Tunis, we have Tunisia, which is TAIR. That would be the symbol. And the max length is 8. I think like the longest would be 4 to 5 chars. While like I'm just going to put, okay, let's put 5. Why 8? And for the date, every stock has a date, and every stock has the opening value and the closing value. So I put them in French because eventually I'm going to integrate the data I have scraped into this skeleton, and I just put it in French so I do not have trouble moving forward. So every stock, when the stock market opens, they're going to have a value. It's going to increase or decrease. Those are the most like primordial variables for any stock: the opening and the closing, and of course we will have the date. So since I have as a model, what I'm going to do is like, before that, I need to import my model into my view. So in here, this is why it gives me errors, because I did not finish the rest, because it does not know stock. And another thing is when we are working with like in web development, we need to serialize our data. What does serialization mean? It means how I'm going to communicate my data from the input to the output. For us, we usually use JSON format, and for that we need a serialization file. That file is going to define the logic of the input and output informations. So inside the main, I'm going to create a file. It's called serializer.py. So come in here, Python file, serializer, and I'm going to tell my Django application to use JSON format. So it's going to be like this. So from REST framework, we're going to import serializers. And from my models, I'm going to import my model in here, and I will tell the serializer to serialize my data, which will be symbol date, l'ouverture et la clôture, c'est the opening and the closing values. But inside my database, I'm going to always have an ID. Whether I code it or not, is going to be there. So my model is called stock, and this is the fields of my model. And thanks to the serializer, now I can like make my API communicate informations. So this is like very important. And other, like if you work with Java Enterprise Edition or you work with .NET or something similar, it's always not easy to put all of these things together. And we have successfully done that in 30 minutes. Like if you have a web development project and you want to get it done as soon as possible, just use Django. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my views and import my serializer. Why I'm going to import my serializer? Because it's going to give me the informations here in the view, like in the website page. And now I'm going to run my server to see if it's working or not. And boom, there is no errors, lucky me. And the website is working. So if the website is working, I need to access it. Or should be like, what did we call it? Index. I need to know how. I actually need the stock view. That's the stock view. The current path, we didn't match any of these. This is one of the moments that I need to debug my code by myself. Let's see if we have missed something. Oh, I did not configure the URLs file. Like, this is one of the things that happens all the time.
What happens?
So I did not add my main application to the logic of the whole website inside the URLs. So it does not know anything about it. And we're gonna use the include function.
Okay.
So we need to add it, and it works. MK is here.
Nice. Good.
It's working. I did not embarrass myself.
Great.
Yeah, hopefully it stays this way. So
if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask, okay?
yeah, of course. So this is like the index. This is like the default thing because I do not have anything. This is why I was like, where is in here? I was like, where is my view? And because I did not route it to here. And now I need the second view. But for the second view, I will not make the same mistake. I'm gonna go to here, and okay, I need to concentrate a little bit. So we called it stock view. So in here, the URLs. Okay. Not to confuse myself, I'm gonna open this stock view. So I need to import this. So I'm in my main application. I need to call the view. So in my application, I have this view and I need to call it. So that's what I did. And I think it did not give me an error. So this is why I was looking for the name of the path. So I called it stock. So I was confused, like, where is my the name. And in here we have a lot of errors. No such table main stock. Yeah, we need to debug the code. I think we have forgot something. A couple of things. Okay, let's try with, let's see if admin is working. We call it MK 1, 2, 3, 4 login. Please enter the correct username. What did we call the admin?
Will be your full name.
I thought I put MK in there. Like, no problem. So MK is here. I'm gonna I don't know why that's not working. Yeah, now I'm confused. Base utils, query, serializer, views. Okay. So the website is working. Now we need yes. Good. So what we did is JSON. So what we did in here is
I didn't get what is the problem.
the problem is I had so I'm gonna open all the files and go back to the logic of it. Serializer, models. So my confusion was were in these two files. This is urls.py for my main application. So it's path, stock, like here. It is like the stock. But like I have the whole website URLs. So you see these empty codes. I did not do that. So now I'm routing, so the logic will be like this. It's going to enter to the Django REST API, which is like the directory for the whole project. The whole project is called my site. And now you have admin side, which is like the dashboards for the admin that I forget, like password. After that, if you do not enter anything, it will be like empty in here. Direct me directly to this application. So if you do not type anything, direct me to mains.urls. For me, I thought I'm gonna put in here stock because I thought this is the file. This is the file for the main app, but I was wrong. So I was confused between these two files. So this is the URLs for the entire website, and this is the URLs for only my project. So in only my project, I'm gonna call the stock, which is my view in here. It's called stock view. So in here, in here would be calling the view stock view and access it from here. So in a nutshell, what's supposed to be in here, I have put it in here, and what's supposed to be in here, I have put it in here. I have reversed the order. Did you understand my answer?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I was like making sure for you guys to not do the mistake between the URLs of the entire website and the URLs of the application. But I have made that mistake eventually.
It's okay. This way we learn better from the errors.
Yes, we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, this way I get stressed.
No worries.
So what my application is doing, like I said, we're gonna store data values, and in those data values, we're gonna retrieve them again. So we're gonna, for example, use, for example, the Tunisair stock, and then we're gonna retrieve them. So options stock. What is the model? Another thing like we're gonna see is API. So in here, we are retrieving the data that we put in our database. So it will be like Tunisair, which is the year. This is the date when I was trying to make the API, which is like, I think last week. And this is when the first value that Tunisair is trading on the market. And this is the closure. So 20 and 30, all of those are dummy data. They are not like real data. In real life, there is like no increase from 20 to 30 suddenly. So using Django REST framework, I'm retrieving my data from my internal database. And in here, we can see HTTP to 100 OK, which is like a GET request. And when you have a GET request with the code 200, that means it's working. If you get 400, that means it's not working. So all those codes have different definitions. And I have tried to put four different stock values just to try that. So now my API is retrieving the data from Django internal database. And basically, that's the thing. This is like how you create a Django REST framework API. And you can like put the data in here, but we did not in our source code, we did not do it. We did not define the logic to get the data from the URL. So maybe I will leave that for you to explore. And the rest, it looks like Postman. If you work with other APIs, you will for sure know how to use Postman. It's like a client to test different APIs. And what we do have to is raw data. So this is the format we have coded into our models. And here is the models and serializer, sorry. So in the serializer, it's in this format. So in here, you're gonna get it in that format. We have showed you how to visualize the data stored in a Django internal database. Now we're gonna show you how to create the data that's gonna be shown to you. So initially we did list API view. So we're gonna list the content of the database. But to enter the content, we just put create API view. So when we put create API view, now inside my view, we can enter the data. So we're gonna go to stock again. And instead of seeing all the saved data, we're gonna enter it. This is what we get. This is the symbol date ouverture ou clôture. It comes from models, and it's visualized in views, and it's serialized to be put inside the database, and it's retrieved that way. So we're gonna put, for example, APL, which is Apple stock ticker. We're gonna put, for example, 13.9 like in the future, and $400 opening and $401 closing stock value. And we're going to put a post request to put it in the database. We post it, and now this is the sixth item that we put. Now, to visualize all of the data that we have put, we go back to, this is how we enter the data, and this is how we will retrieve it. We go to views, and we change it to list. Again, this is what I have showed you previously. And not allowed. Okay, get. And we get our data with the button get. So initially, you have seen these 4 stock values, and this is how we entered our items. So in here, we switch between create API view and create list view. And for this, you have the input and output using a Django REST framework. And for that, we are putting an end to our workshop. We should not do it on Friday night. Thank you, guys, and have a great weekend.
So thank you everyone to be here today. Thank you, Muwaffaq, for accepting our invitation.
You have any email that you can? So Muwaffaq shared already his some posts from his LinkedIn profile. To contact him, I can share again his profile. Otherwise, if you have an email, I don't know. So this is the profile of Muwaffaq. He's so active on LinkedIn, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a question here.
So yeah, I shared. It's okay.
Is there a way to communicate with the presenter in case help in this is needed?
I think it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I have no problem, but I usually do not correct source codes. It's just like the thing, when you correct somebody's source code is like a little bit tricky. So fix sometimes, but like I do not have a problem to share with you and share with you a work that I already have made. So what I usually do is like refer them to my GitHub and give them like a solution for the thing, and they will try to how to say it, try to help them with the projects I already have. But like what I don't do is like correct source codes. Even at work, I don't do that because you do not know the logic behind the person who was doing that. So it's a little bit tricky.
So I hope you enjoyed the workshop and you had a good start in learning how to develop Django MPI. We share the recording video later on our YouTube channel. I will just share the link in the chat. I will be notified also via email if you have filled out the Google form about the recording video. Thank you all for attending and hope to see you next time. Thank you again, Muafaq, for this incredible workshop.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Goodbye, all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you, Muwafaq.
Good night.